Didn't play very well, and team's very disappointed. Saw a bunch of them this morning in the weight room. They're very disappointed in the way that we performed on a big time stage like that. So obviously that was discouraging. But the best part about it is now we start a brand new season, and we've kind of come up with a slogan for the boys. We're 0-0 with 1 week to go, 3 weeks in a row, and that's how we're going to attack it from here on out. With these next 3 weeks, starting this week with Tennessee Tech down in Cookeville, be a another tough opponent. They got a new coach down there who's doing very, very, very well. Change some things up schematically week to week, kind of keep you on your toes. But we're looking forward to. I always look forward to away games. Get a chance to ride on the bus with the boys and kind of fellowship with them, be around them a lot more than you do in home games. And looking forward to getting back on the right track.
For the last month, you guys have been first 2-0 start forever, first 3-0, first 4-0, now the first loss. How emotionally do you have to deal with them to make sure the elevator doesn't go down too many?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. That was the majority of our staff meetings yesterday, was making sure that the guys kind of take what happened at face value. I mean, they got beat by a really good team. They did not play very well, just making sure that we do the right things with these next 3 weeks, starting this week and the remainder of this season. Making sure that their mind's right moving forward, and that's a big thing. Now the boys, they've done an incredible job about it. They were hurt, and I tell you, that's one thing. I mean, you look at where we've come from. The biggest difference was man, you could have heard a pin drop in that locker room. Now, I mean, there was a lot of hurt feelings. There was a lot of guys who knew that they didn't play very well, or whatever the case may be. We didn't perform very well and things like that. And and it hurt. I got a lot of text messages from the players that night. Either asking, "Hey, what can I do to make sure that never happens again? What are we going to do to make sure that it never happens again?" and things of that nature. So when you have that going on a Saturday night at 10:30, 11 o'clock, says a lot about your ball club. And then this morning, I went down there and I watched the guys lift, and I talked with JC, and I said, "Hey, how are they?" And he goes, "Well, they're pretty somber, but that's a good thing." He said they're working hard, but it's they've kind of got a rejuvenated focus about them. And so we're gonna make sure that we capitalize on that throughout the week and build on that throughout the week.
Was there a lesson to take away? Jacksonville State coming off of that loss against SEMO, kind of tough for them. Then you guys come off of that loss against Jacksonville State. Do you feel like maybe Jacksonville's renewed focus on Saturday is something you guys?
Oh, I don't know. I think the lesson for us is just you can't play a good football team bad. You can't do that. You can't have penalties. You can't give them first downs on penalties. You can't take touchdowns off the board with penalties. You can't miss wide open receivers in the end zone. You can't do that. Now, with all of that being said, I think that the biggest thing that we were encouraged about after watching the film, and I didn't really realize it until I was watching the film afterwards, was I forget the time, but it was in the fourth quarter. We're still 25-15 and have played like complete dogs. I mean, I don't have any other way to put it. Had played like complete dogs up to that point, and we're still right there. And offensively, if we could have just done something at that point, we still got a chance. And I think, that speaks volumes about where we're at right now, and that's what we're going to focus on with the guys. And like I said, getting that focus and making sure that they're kind of rejuvenated after this.
Where do you think the levee broke? Do you think it was the fourth quarter, not being able to convert?
Yeah. I thought, it was just in those moments in the latter part of the game where you're just waiting for that series where you finally get it going, and it just never happened. We could never get a run. The run game became you know, like down at the 4-yard line, that one series, I wanted to run the ball so bad, but up until that point, we're not running for 1 or 2 yard gains. We're getting hit in the backfield up to that point, you know, and I didn't want to lose yards back there, so we go down there and we're doing all of this stuff, right? All of our kind of trickums and things like that, all of our specials we're doing down there, just because we couldn't get anything established run game wise. I will say this, they did some very dynamic things defensively that I've never seen them do. Different fronts, they ran 5 different fronts against us. Anybody who's covered Jacksonville State, that's not really their numb to plumb. They don't do that a whole lot. And hats off to those guys. They got me. They got me from a defensive standpoint. They got me because they came out and ran some 3-man front and some bear defense, and I've never seen them do that before. And they got us, and we did not adjust to it well. And that was kind of where the levee broke, was we just couldn't catch up after that. We just, offensively, we could not catch up.
Easy peasy.
I was going to ask about Tennessee Tech. Okay. Sorry. What do you think about Tennessee Tech going into this weekend? Obviously, they're a winless ball club, but how do you keep your team?
Well, I think that's just it. I mean, I wouldn't categorize them. I'm definitely not categorizing them to the team as a winless ball club. I categorize them as a hungry ball club. You know, they're a hungry ball club with a new coach, and you know, and you can see that on tape now when you watch them. I mean, they play very, very hard. They play extremely hard. I say this all the time. You know, the thing that I like watching first against an opponent is their kickoff coverage team, to see just how fast they cover, because I think you can tell a lot about a football team by watching their kickoff coverage team. And theirs, they've got about 4 or 5 dudes who run down there to hurt you. I mean, they run down there to hurt you, and I think that says a lot about his ball club and what he's doing down there, because they play extremely hard, and we've got to be ready. We've got to be all guns blazing, all of our T's crossed and all of our I's dotted going down there.